So I tied my hair back, so I hope you won't notice that I'm doing another video on the same day. I'm gonna do a couple more in just a minute. But I wanted to do Richard's what was the name of that again? That's So Old and Why Haven't I Read It Yet tag. Because it seemed like fun, and I do have, and I did pretty much have answers to all of his questions. So, and I haven't done a tag in a while. So, and it was Richard's first, so I wanted to do it. So, yeah, that's why I'm going to do it today. So, hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Misty, and my channel's name, of course, excuse me, I have the hiccups all of a sudden, is Speculative Magpie. And let's get into the questions. 7 prompts. I'm not going to tag anybody, but it's a really fun tag. So if you want, I think you should do it. So the first prompt is, what is the oldest book you want to read and how old is it? Okay, so the oldest book I want to read is The Tales of Moonlight and Rain. It's written by, I'm sorry, it's Japanese. It's Uda Akaminari, and it's translated by Anthony H. Chambers. And this book was written back in 1776. Yes, this book was written when our country declared its independence. This book is a book of 9 tales of the occult and the supernatural, and it is revered in Japan as the best collection of such stories, as also being the first collection of stories. I've had this on my bookshelf for a while. I just love the cover. I think it's beautiful. I just haven't read it yet. And that's the answer to that question. What is the oldest book on your shelf you still have and haven't read? That's prompt 2. Okay, this is a fairly new acquisition for me. I found this thing on eBay that was like, you paid like $14 and you picked the category and they sent you just a whole bunch of random books. And I picked the horror thriller category, of course. They didn't have romance or fantasy or anything. They had like general fiction and then thrillers and horror. So this is the book I got. Trouble Follows Me by Ross Macdonald. And it's like a spy thriller book, and it's from 1946. Just from the back, you can tell it's from, back in the day. Let's see. Sailor Beware. Sam just couldn't seem to relax on his shore leave. It might have been battle fatigue or the fact that his love life had been torpedoed by the war. Or maybe it was because he tripped over 3 bodies in 3 weeks, in the 3 weeks he'd been ashore. All Sam knew was that he was up to his neck in a bloody whirlpool of black fascism, Asian espionage, and brutal mayhem, and it was making him very nervous. So apparently this guy, Ross Macdonald, wrote a series of really awesome detective novels. The Lou Archer novels. And this is another series of books by him. So they were popular back in the day. To be honest, I don't know if I'm going to read it. It's not long. It's like 196 pages. So I could read it. I might. But yeah, that's the oldest book I have on my shelf right now that I haven't read. All right. How old were you when you read your first horror book? All right. I've always kind of read scary books. I love the Halloween time when the librarians would pull out all the scary books in grade school. I remember reading, true ghost stories when I was a kid. But the first actual horror novel that I read, I was 10 years old, and I read Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. I think it was a couple years before I read Vampire Lestat and The Queen of the Damned, and then, The Tale of the Body Thief, and it just went on from there. I think the last Anne Rice novel I read was one of the continuations of the Vampire Chronicles. Not quite sure which one. I think it had a violinist in it. I really don't remember. That was a while ago. I just can't seem to enjoy Anne Rice like everybody else seems to enjoy. Okay. What is the longest a book has been on your still not finished it shelf? All right. Oof, I didn't grab that one. Hold on just a second. Okay, so this one's actually gonna fulfill 2 prompts, okay? So we'll just go ahead and do it together. So it's prompt 4, what is the longest a book has been on your shelf, still not finished its shelf? And what is the book that you have DNF'd more than once? So that's 4 and 6. And they're the same book. And that book is They Thirst by Robert R. McCammon. Now, I have not finished this book, not because I didn't enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have not DNF'd this book because I didn't enjoy it. I really enjoyed this book. I just do not have the mental capacity right now to keep up with all the characters in this book. Plus, this book has really, really tiny print. And when I try to read it, my eyes just slide all over the page. This book was really interesting. I really enjoy the characters that I have met so far. The serial killer is incredibly creepy. The detectives, the vampires, just the whole premise of this book is interesting. I really don't have much of an opinion on it because I haven't finished it. I mean, to be honest, I'm not even, halfway through it, you can see. So I just am not in a place where I can finish this book right now. Hopefully, I will be able to pick it up and get further in it. That's the only reason. In fact, this is the only book that I haven't finished that sits on my to be read shelf. If I don't finish a book or I DNF a book, 9 times out of 10, it's because I don't like the book and I'm not going to finish it. I do not have time to force myself to read books that I do not enjoy. And you're never going to hear about those books. They're just going to be, sold to the used bookstore and they're going to be out of my life. So, yeah, that's the answers to those prompts. And, all right, we're going to backtrack. Prompt 5. Is there a book genre you still haven't read or tried to read? I haven't ever read a Western. I don't know why. I enjoy Western movies. I also haven't really read adventure stories. I guess I kind of consider Steve Alten adventure, but a lot of people consider him horror. But like There is the author I don't like to talk about. I tried to read one of his books, and like by like the fifth page, I was just so enraged, I just threw it away. He's a very popular adventure writer. And then like there's that other guy that writes the books like Hawaii and Alaska and Africa, and Wilbur Smith. My dad used to love to read his books, and I just never picked him up. I've seen a couple of the movies and miniseries based off his books, and they were pretty good. But I just have never. They're like epic, multi-generational books, and I just have never tried to tackle one. I think he really enjoyed like Hawaii. I might try to pick up that one because I think that was one of my dad's favorite books. Might do that once or twice. But yeah, Westerns, I just like Louis L'Amour. I mean, I've seen his books all over. I just haven't picked one up. And then, there's that series of splatterpunk Westerns that's really popular right now. I mean, the first book is Magpie Coffin. I almost have to read that one by default. So I'm going to try, but I don't know if that would count as me reading Westerns. So yeah, that was the prompt answer for 6. And then 7, what is the oldest book that you have read? I like classics, so I read a lot of classics. I'm not quite sure which is my oldest. I mean, I've read, The Count of Monte Cristo. I've read The Scarlet Pimpernel. I've read The Three Musketeers. I've read tons of Charles Dickens. I've read, Jules Verne. I've read, I don't know. I've just read a lot of what people would consider classics. Plus I've read like tons of Shakespeare. I mean, my favorite Shakespeare play is The Twelfth Night. I was forced to read Chaucer back in, college. That was, I mean, I didn't read the whole thing, but I've read, several short stories by Chaucer. So yeah, I mean, I've read a lot of older stories, and as a rule, I do tend to enjoy them. I mean, I've read also, Jane Eyre and Pride and Prejudice and all the stuff that, when you're like 14 and discover, period movies, and all of a sudden you want your own Mr. Darcy. I've read those. So yeah, those are probably the oldest books I've read, and they're like, can go all the way back to like the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. So yeah. So that's my answers for the tags. I really enjoyed doing this tag, and I hope some of y'all will, do the tag too. So, and as always, thank you for coming back so we can talk about some books and things. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.